Hello crafty friends, it's Alicia of the Call Me Crafty Al YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to be answering one of the most popular questions I get about a product that you see me use in my video. I hope you'll stick around and find out what it is. Thanks so much for stopping by today. Like I said in the intro, I'm going to be sharing one of my favorite products today, and you've seen me use it a lot, and here recently I have made the state die cut cards and my sand shaker cards using this product. It is my big roll of foam tape. Since the beginning of my channel, this is always the product I've gotten the most questions on when I use it, and unfortunately I got it from my sister who used to have a craft store. She doesn't have that anymore, and the company she bought it from is no longer in business. So I could never really tell you where to buy it from, but good news. I have found a new source, and it is on Amazon. Every once in a while I would suggest an item on Amazon that I thought might be similar to my roll. But because I wasn't 100% sure, I always kind of, gave that warning or that caveat that I don't really know if this is it. So I went ahead and ordered a roll because, my roll is getting low, right? I've had this for 6 years and that's how much I have left. But I do love a shaker card, so now I can make more without the fear of running out of my foam tape. Here recently, I signed up for an Amazon affiliates account and I opened a storefront. I don't actually ship out the product or anything. And if you would consider using the links that I provide or going to my storefront and buying some of my favorite items, I will get a small commission of that without any extra cost to you. And that is one of the reasons I wanted to go ahead and order this, because before I put it in my store and recommend it, I definitely want to make sure that it is a good product and that I would use it. I did share on, I think the video where I made the sand shaker cards, I had purchased another product on Amazon thinking, oh, this might work. It absolutely did not work, so I didn't put it in my store. So I thought today I would make a shaker card with my new roll of foam tape and let you know what I think about it. So once I start the process of that shaker card, I will go to a voiceover. If I don't answer a question you have in my voiceover, make sure to leave that in the comment section below and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. And before I start the voiceover in the process, I thought I would tell you a little bit about the items on Amazon. I believe they call this window glazing tape. It is sticky on both sides and there's a blue release on one side. And there are different sizes and widths on Amazon. The one I got is the closest to what I already have. It is 1/16 of an inch thick and it is a 1/4 inch wide. They also sell the white window glazing in, they're all 1/16 inch thick, but they sell them in 3/8 and 1/2 inch wide tape. I like this because sometimes my shaker window frames have a very narrow border to them. So this ensures that I don't have to cut this in half or do anything like that. Also with the thickness, the 1/16 inch. I usually don't fill my shakers too much, but if you wanted to double this up to make your window deeper, you could do that. They also sell a 1/8 inch tape, but it is black foam, and since I usually use white backgrounds or white frames, I chose to get the 1/16 inch, and for me it works perfectly. If I ever need it thicker, like I said, you can just double it up. I will link all 3 widths of the white foam in my description box below, so if you would consider buying this through my link if you like it, I would really appreciate that. Now let's get started on the card. Besides my foam tape, this is most of the product that I will be using in the video. If I introduce anything else, I will tell you as we go along. Because this is going to be a shaker card, I did go ahead and pull out some sequins that I thought would work with the paper that I've chosen to use. I got out a brown, a couple purples, and a green. A couple weeks ago, I was at JoAnn and I saw this Park Lane Papery Landscapes pad, and I just had to have it. And I knew that whatever card I wanted to use it on, I wanted the paper itself to be the star of the show. So I'll kind of flip through here quickly so you can see some of the papers. Each of them has like a landscape picture on the front, and then the back is a watercolor solid. This is actually the one that I'll be using today. That's why I chose the purple and green sequins. Also at JoAnn that day, I found this vellum. It's white, but it also has dots in it. So I thought it would be fun to stamp my sentiment, which also, again, JoAnn that day. I read this sentiment, then saw this paper pad, and I knew it was meant to be. The stamp says, "Life is pretty amazing when you stop and look around you." So I thought with the beautiful landscapes, that was a good sentiment. I will be heat embossing that onto the vellum. I will be using Versamark Dazzle for my stamp pad. Now normally I would just use the regular Versamark, but my pad is not that juicy. I need to re-ink it. So I'm using this, and then I will also be using Recollections White Detail Embossing Powder. To do my die cutting today, since I need to make shaker windows, I've grabbed out my Hero Arts Infinity Die set. I love this set because each of the dies is proportionate to an A2 card. And since that's what I make the most, this is perfect. I will also have these linked below if you want to check that out. I'll also have some white cardstock for my card base. Let's go ahead and get started. I got started by cutting a piece from the pattern paper that was 4 1/4 inches wide by 5 1/2 inches tall. This way it will completely fill the card front. Next, I got my dies ready to cut my frame in my piece of pattern paper. To hold my dies in place, I use a little bit of Scotch removable tape. And I am actually going to make a frame kind of within a frame to create my shaker card. So I do put 2 dies on there and just center those and place them as best as I can. Now if I had this to do over, I probably would have put this piece of pattern paper on a lightweight cardstock, because even though the package says printed cardstock, it is pretty flimsy, which later on when I do the adhesive, I run into a little bit of trouble, but I make it work. To ensure that my piece of vellum was the same size as the shaker frame, I went ahead and die cut that with the die as well. Because the pattern paper was on the thinner side, for that outer frame to get it on my card front, I actually put the adhesive right on the card front and then placed the frame on there as carefully as I could. You'll see with that inner piece that I just hold the frame in place with my hand while I get that aligned, just so it will fit right later when I put that frame back on the card. And now it is time to do the stamping. Before I stamp my vellum, I used my embossing buddy just to take off any static to ensure that my embossing powder only sticks to the ink before I go to heat emboss it. I made sure to get my stamp nice and juicy with the ink, and then when I put it down on my vellum, I made sure that I pressed it nice and hard and tried to cover, because with a wood stamp, you only have one chance. Now it is time for the magic to happen. I just love watching the embossing powder do its job. Once that piece was all ready to go, I put adhesive on the back of the pattern paper frame, and you'll see there, just because of how thin that paper was, it was a little bit tricky getting it to line up correctly, but I did my best and I think it ended up pretty straight. Now it was time to test out that new roll of foam tape, and even though my frame was thin on that shaker window, this tape was the perfect width to go behind it. And I have to say, I do think this is the same exact stuff as what I had, so I would definitely recommend checking this product out on Amazon and getting some for yourself. Really, for as much tape as you get, which I think it's 150 feet, it's a super good deal. To get the shaker element started, I pulled the release paper off 3 edges of my shaker frame. You'll notice that I left the tape on the top just intact like it was. That is so when I get my sequins and all my stuff ready for my shaker, that I can just pour that in the top of the frame and then pull the release paper and seal it. Speaking of sequins, it's time to make my shaker mix. I pulled out my little square bowl and my teeny tiny spoon. I got these both at the Dollar Tree, and it's very handy for doing shaker cards like this. Once I had the shaker bits in there, I decided it needed something else. So I pulled in some white sequins and added those to the mix. Once everything was inside, I peeled that top release paper and my shaker window was all done, and so was the card. I hope you enjoyed that look at how I created this vellum shaker card using the new foam tape roll. I think this worked out just like my other roll, so I will definitely put this in my Amazon storefront. Again, if you would consider purchasing through my link, I would totally appreciate it. I have also linked some of the other products that I've used in the description box below. As always, I appreciate a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. If you're new to my channel, I hope that you'll be inspired to hit the subscribe button below and maybe even click on that bell for notifications. To all my regular viewers and subscribers, thank you so much for stopping back by. Until my next video, I hope you're all having a crafty day. Bye-bye.